Hey guys, Friday afternoon now, and I'm back for part two of these sessions on uh, harmony, trying to work out harmony for yourself, um, and how you might get into that. And I thought I should really start this video in which I'm going to explain a bit about how I came to do it, because I think that's really relevant to you. I thought I'd start by showing you this record. When I was a level 3 music student, I remember a band session whereby one of the guitar players on my course was really freaking out about this record and was getting really frustrated that we couldn't play it. I remember an argument because he really wanted to play this song. The song was Roads from this album, and nobody else could work it out. And I remember myself, sitting down at a piano, trying to work it out, and I couldn't do it. Just thinking, this is crazy. Why can't we figure this out? And so I think that's really important, isn't it? That takes you back to when I couldn't do it, when I might have had a lesson from me as I am now and gone, oh man, what is this D-bag on about? This is just awful. Or like, oh man, that's not what music's about, or etc, etc. Except I had a real moment here, I think we all did, back in the late 90s when we were doing this, when we were like, oh man, if we had the tools, we could work this out. Of course, things are very different then. That was pre-YouTube, and we relied on alkaline battery power on our Sony Discmans to listen to music in sessions, etc, etc. But anyway, this record is really important, and I suspect you might have one. It's probably not going to be this one, although there you go. This could be a really useful record. It's a great record anyway. But I wanted to illustrate the point that I once couldn't decipher harmony from a position of understanding what basic chords were, and I knew, I could read music and I could understand that, but I couldn't decipher basic harmony, which this record uses. So what did I do to be able to do that? Okay, well, the first thing I did was listen to a lot of music and really attack it from the perspective of learning what certain sounds were. I put the bullet points out in the first video about the importance of hearing major and minor, and that is really, really important. When you hear a sound, to know whether it's major or minor, that's so important in our culture, and that can really help you out. But the main thing that really helped me out, and this is probably the main thing that would help you out, or certainly the most important advice I would give to any young person trying to develop skills in terms of understanding harmony in any way, shape or form, is to really want to do it and to really dissolve yourself into it. Get really immersed in that kind of world. Not just listening as a fan, but listening and to really go, right, what is this sound? And you can do that in every single way. Not just with harmony. You should listen to all music in the way where you can interpret how all sounds feel and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I thought it'd be really interesting to do a session on some of the things in this record, just because that really opened things up for me. That was the moment where I started. Now, when I really got going, and this is what it leads on to, where I really got going with harmony was, and this came up in my session yesterday. For me, dominant chords and altered dominant chords were the real benchmark for me. If I talk about hearing major and minor, okay, so for example, the difference between that A minor chord and this A major chord, or A minor 7, major 7. Okay, so yeah, we talk about hearing the difference between major and minor, but for me, when I could recognize dominant chords and altered dominant chords, then that really opened up for me, because that became like a calling card in the music that I was listening to. I would look for that, I would understand how that particular chord worked, and then I'd be able to move on from there. So for example, this sound, and we discovered that sound a bit more about it yesterday. This is E altered dominant chord, so that's E, B, G sharp. Okay. You've got a C and a D in there, and a G natural as well. Okay. The C natural, there's the flat 13, and that G natural is the sharp 9. Sorry, I mean F double sharp. Sorry. Okay, so that's E7. That's E7 right there. Sharp 9, flat 13. And I could start to hear that chord. I could start to hear that chord in lots of music. So I could listen out for it. I could recognize it. Does that make sense? And then I was like, oh, I always know what that is. I was looking for the signs of that chord. I listened to a lot of music by Robert Glasper around 2012 to 2015. That really helped me. So focusing in on one artist, his music uses a lot of that kind of chord. And I just done a lot of listening. Now, final thought before I start to make the third part of this lesson here is, and this is hopefully something which is going to be good for you guys. One of the things that really helps me, like with anything, is practicing and repeating that kind of practice of understanding harmony and working it out on relatively easy tracks, like the Loyal Kana one that I did this morning. That wasn't difficult for me to do. And yet I still do lots of that. One of the reasons I do lots of it is because of you guys. You ask me to do it. I like to deliver new music in the lessons that I teach. You guys know that about me. Therefore, I have to do lots of that analysis. And I don't always do it with super complicated harmony, because it's not always relevant. A lot of the music that you guys are really into uses harmony, which is quite easy for me to analyze, which is great. And that practice really helps out. Like baking bread, the recipe for bread is quite straightforward, and the process of getting it into the oven isn't that hard, but boy, is there a lot of variation in quality with such simple processes. I think that's a reasonably good analogy. It's the same with music. Like, you'll never be too good. And it's never a case of, oh, well, that was simple, so I'm going to leave it. I need to go on to the hard stuff. No, do harmonic analysis of tons and tons of easy stuff. Just going, okay, that's a C. What is that? That's a G. Okay, how do I make this chord major? How do I make this chord minor? Okay, and that can really help you out. That leads to... you down that kind of world, or any other kind of world. You have to start with some basic things and really repeat them. Talked about baking there. What about running? Okay, running can be really complicated, but it's a relatively straightforward process. What's the best way of improving your running? Ultimately, amongst many other things, it is to run. Okay, so that's a bit about how I got to it. Okay, and it's unfortunately just me really emphasizing the point of really submitting to doing this kind of work is probably the best thing that you can do. But always try to take music, one, of course, like this, that you want to find out about and want to play, and two, that will be achievable, and then you can build it up like that. Okay, in part 3, I'm going to analyze some Portishead songs from this record for you, and teach some lessons about harmony and how to hear harmony and how to discover it. Okay, see you soon. Ciao.